9EC, composite materials. So we've talked about ceramics, we've talked about substances made up of polymers. Now we're talking about composite materials. A composite material is a material that's made up of a combo of different materials. And when that happens, we grab some properties from this material, grab some properties from this material. When they come together, that resulting material will have a mixture and a combination of the properties of the materials that it started out as. Some common examples they use are concrete, laminated glass, and Kevlar. Now, as we've already learned, polymers are quite flexible, and laminated glass is a combo of glass and a polymer, which means that when the glass smashes, there's this flexible layer, which means the glass pieces don't shatter everywhere, they hold in place because it's not so brittle anymore. The little tiny pieces stay in place. You can imagine why this is useful. Windscreens, car windows. So laminated glass is your first example of composite material. Your other key example of a composite material is concrete, and this is made up of cement, sand, crushed rocks, and water. The crushed rocks have their own name, that's called aggregate. So cement, sand, aggregate, and water make up cement, which is why it's composite, all these materials together combined to make concrete. Why do we bother doing this? Because we could just use cement, but it's not very strong. When we add the aggregate to it, the crushed rocks, the strength is improved greatly, and sometimes they also add steel rods inside too. At this point, they'd also like you to think about how cement is formed itself, one of the parts of concrete. Cement comes from heating limestone. The scientific name for limestone is calcium carbonate. So they want you to remember, to make cement itself, you have to heat calcium carbonate, then the calcium carbonate breaks down to become calcium oxide. It also produces CO2, but we don't care about that bit. Calcium oxide is lime, which is the primary constituent of cement. Recap, this is called a thermal decomposition reaction. Long word for a very simple concept. Thermal, hot. Thermal to do with warmth, like your thermal leggings, your thermal jackets. Thermal to do with heat. Decomposition, you know that when things decompose, they're rotting, they're breaking down. This is about heat breaking something down. Thermal decomposition, as easy as that. So we heat calcium carbonate and it breaks down into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. And that calcium oxide goes towards making cement. Last note, we talked about exothermic and endothermic reactions. Exothermic push the energy out to the surroundings when the reaction happens. Endothermic bring the energy in. This thermal decomposition of calcium carbonate is an endothermic reaction, so the energy goes inwards. And those are the key points of composite materials. 9EC.